All right, so get this. Remember when AI was mostly just promising us the world, but delivering, well, not so much? Turns out behind the scenes, things were changing fast, especially when it comes to images. That's what we're diving into today with Jens Knappe's book, Genesis.
What's so fascinating is how this revolution wasn't about some sudden breakthrough. It was this almost accidental journey from teaching AI to see, like a toddler,
Yeah.
to something that feels a lot like AI is dreaming up art.
Okay, so back up for a sec.
Yeah.
We're talking ImageNet, right? Remember hearing about this like a massive digital photo album, but for computers, is that right?
Nappy calls it a gold rush moment, and he's not kidding. Faye, the mastermind behind it, had this radical idea. If we want AI to understand images, we need to show it billions of them, meticulously labeled. She almost reopened her dry cleaning business to fund it. That's dedication.
Wow, talk about taking one for the team. But why was ImageNet such a big deal?
It's all about how AI learns. Think about a kid learning what a cat is. They don't just download a definition. They see thousands of cats, fluffy ones, grumpy ones, hairless ones. Actually, maybe avoid those ones. Their brains build this intricate model of catness. ImageNet did that for AI, but on a scale we could never achieve with physical photos.
So we've got mountains of labeled images. What's the next piece of the puzzle?
Enter the neural network. Knapp describes it like mapping the human brain onto an algorithm. Don't worry, we won't get too technical, but basically imagine a network of interconnected points, each one handling a tiny piece of an image. And the connections between them, they have these little weights, and as the AI sees more and more images, it tweets those weights, learning what matters most for recognizing different things.
So like if I showed enough pictures of cats wearing hats, eventually it'll be like, yep, that's a cat, and it's definitely rocking that fedora.
Exactly. But more importantly, it starts to understand the essence of cat, even in images it's never seen before. That's where things went from neat trick to game changer. This wasn't just recognizing pixels, it was starting to grasp concepts, just like that toddler analogy from earlier.
And that's when the AI world woke up. That AI winter everyone talks about started to thaw out because of cat pictures.
In a way, yes. Investors saw this and realized, whoa, if AI can learn to see the world, the possibilities are endless. Self-driving cars, medical diagnoses, all suddenly within reach. And of course, where there's money, there's even more research and development. And that, my friend, is where things get really wild.
So we've cracked the code on AI seeing the world. But this book, Genesis, it's not about recognizing images, it's about creating them. How do we get from point A to point B?
That's a fascinating flip, isn't it? Napier talks about these early attempts at text-to-image, and honestly, they were kind of a joke. Like you type in cat wearing a hat, and you'd get this blurry blob with maybe a hint of something vaguely feline.
Okay, I'm picturing those draw something fails, but those blurry blobs were still important, right?
Absolutely. They proved something crucial. This could work. That somewhere in the digital ether, there was a way to bridge the gap between words and images. But to get there, we needed a couple more breakthroughs.
Enter latent space, which sounds like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's literally in the book's title, The Space of All Possible Images. How do you even wrap your head around that?
Right. Napa uses this great analogy. Imagine a giant library, but instead of books, it holds every image imaginable. Not just the ones we've taken, but every possible combination of pixels, color form. Latent space is like the blueprint for that library. It exists mathematically, even if our brains can't quite picture it.
Okay, so we've got this infinite library of potential images.
Yeah.
How does AI actually go in and find the right one based on, say, me wanting a picture of a cat wearing a monocle reading Shakespeare?
It's not so much about finding a pre-made image as it is about guiding the AI through that latent space to create something new. The text prompt is like giving it directions more to the left. Add some whiskers. Perfect. Now give it a contemplative expression.
So it's using the patterns it learned from ImageNet to navigate this abstract space and build an image from scratch.
Precisely. But the real magic, the thing that took AI image generation from interesting to mind-blowing, is something called diffusion models.
All right, break it down for me, diffusion models. This is going to get too technical.
Not at all. Imagine taking one of the images from Genesis, like that stunning Tesseract piece, and slowly adding digital noise pixel by pixel until it becomes pure static. That's the diffusion part. Now imagine training an AI to do that in reverse, to take static and step by step remove the noise until it reconstructs the original image.
So it's basically learning how to unblur an image, but on a level of complexity I can't even imagine.
And here's the kicker. Once the AI masters that process, you can give it pure noise, a blank canvas, and a text prompt. And it uses that prompt to guide the unblurring, slowly shaping the chaos into a coherent image that matches the description.
That's strangely beautiful.
Hmm.
Like sculpting a masterpiece, but you're starting with TV static instead of marble. No wonder Daily 2 creates such detailed, unique images.
Exactly. And because of that random starting point, no two Delhi images are ever truly identical, even with the same prompt. There's always an element of surprise, which I think adds to the whole "is this art" debate.
Okay, I'm catching my breath here after that diffusion model deep dive.
Yeah.
But this whole time, there's this bigger question lurking in the background. Right. The book even calls itself Genesis, a creation story in collaboration with artificial intelligence. It's not just about pretty pictures, is it? It's about where this all leads.
You hit the nail on the head. Genesis goes there straight into the philosophical deep end. If AI can create images this amazing just from our prompts, what happens when it starts coming up with its own ideas? Are we talking about AI artists, AI beings?
It's kind of free to think about. NapDap mentions the Google engineer Blake Lemoine, right? The one who went public saying a chatbot he worked on LaMDA was actually sentient. Did that freak you out at all?
Honestly, I think we have to approach these claims carefully. LaMDA is designed to be a super sophisticated conversationalist. It's trained on a ridiculous amount of text. So it's amazing at sounding human, even emotional. But sounding human and being human are two very different things, right?
So like a really good actor can make us cry on cue, but that doesn't mean they're actually heartbroken backstage. It's all
Amen.
about the performance.
Exactly. And when you look closely at the conversations with LaMDA, there are a lot of leading questions, almost like someone was trying to get the answers they wanted. We have to remember AI is built to please us, to give us what we ask for, even if it's not real in any deep sense.
Okay, so LaMDA might just be telling us what it thinks we want to hear, even if it claims to write poetry in its spare time.
It's possible, but then Nat brings up Ilya Sutskever, one of the folks behind DALL-E 2.
Mhm.
He seems much more open to the idea that AI could develop consciousness and that it's not some far-off thing.
Right, that's where it gets really mind-blowing. Susskiver suggests these massive neural networks are so complex that maybe consciousness emerges as a side effect. Like we didn't program it in, it just happened because the system got big enough, intricate enough.
It's a wild concept, and it ties into all the talk about AGI, artificial general intelligence, not just AI that's good at one thing, but as smart as us, maybe even smarter in all sorts of ways.
Genesis doesn't shy away from this at all. Nappy goes there asking the tough questions. If AI does become conscious, what do we owe it? How do we even know for sure? What if it's trying to tell us, but we're not listening?
And that's the final lingering thought the book leaves us with. If AI could understand its own existence, how would it prove that to us? It's a question that goes way beyond ones and zeros, straight into philosophy, maybe even spirituality.
This whole deep dive has been one aha moment after another. Honestly, Genesis is one of those books that'll stick with me. It's beautiful, it's thought-provoking, and yeah, a little bit terrifying.
If you're even remotely curious about where technology is headed, or what it means to be creative, or even just what it means to be human, this book is a must-read.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this. If you could ask DLE2 to paint a picture of the future of AI, what would your prompt be? Let us know, because this is a conversation that's just getting started. Until next time, keep asking questions and keep on diving deep.